Welcome back to Wikilert.
Today, we're talking about a story that's rocked the cycling community to its core, Chris Froome's devastating crash in August 2025. If you're a fan of Froome, you know he's no stranger to pushing the limits: 4 Tour de France titles, 2 Vuelta a España wins, a Giro d'Italia crown, and a career that's made him a legend. But this latest accident has left fans, teammates, and even rival riders holding their breath, wondering what it means for the 40-year-old icon's future. So, grab a seat, maybe a coffee to keep you grounded, and let's piece together this emotional roller coaster of a story, from the crash itself to the impact it's having on the cycling world, told like we're sitting around swapping tales after a long ride. It's Wednesday, August 27, 2025, and Chris Froome is out on a training ride near Saint Raphael, a picturesque spot along the southern coast of France, not far from his home in Monaco. The sun's shining, the roads are winding, and Froome's doing what he's done for decades, pedaling hard, probably chasing that feeling of freedom only a bike can give. He's been grinding through the 2025 season with Israel Premier Tech, a team he's been with since 2021, trying to recapture the magic of his glory days. At 40, he's not the dominant force he once was, but his grit and love for the sport keep him in the saddle. Then, in a split second, everything changes. Froome goes down hard. No other cyclists, no cars involved, just him and the road. Maybe it was a slick patch, a misjudged turn, or a moment of distraction, but the result is brutal. He's airlifted by helicopter to a hospital in Toulon, about 170 kilometers from Monaco. And the news starts to spread like wildfire across cycling forums, ex-posts, and news outlets. By Thursday, August 28, the details start pouring in, and they're not easy to hear. Froome's team releases a statement on his X account, and it's a punch to the gut. He's stable, thank goodness, with no head injuries, but scans reveal a collapsed lung, a pneumothorax, 5 broken ribs, and a fractured lumbar vertebra. He's set to undergo surgery that afternoon to stabilize his spine. Imagine that moment, lying in a hospital bed, a 4-time Tour de France champion, knowing you're facing another grueling recovery. French newspaper L'Equipe reports that Froome was conscious when he arrived at the hospital, even able to speak to medical staff, which is a small relief amidst the chaos. Fans flood X with messages of support. One post from @CyclingFan123 reading, "Sending all my strength to it, Chris Froome, come back stronger, champ," with thousands of likes echoing the sentiment. But there's also a heavy undertone in the comments, a collective worry. At 40, with his contract expiring at the end of the year, is this the end of the road for Froome? This isn't Froome's first dance with disaster, and that's what makes this crash sting even more. Cast your mind back to June 2019, the Critérium du Dauphiné. Froome's out reconning a time trial course in Rouen, France, pushing his bike to the limit at 60 km per hour. It's windy, gusty even, and in a moment that still gives cyclists chills, he takes his hands off the bars to blow his nose. The wind catches his front wheel, and he slams into a wall. The injuries are catastrophic: a fractured femur, elbow, ribs, neck, and a collapsed lung. He loses 4 pints of blood, spends weeks in intensive care, and faces a recovery that would have ended most careers. But Froome, being Froome, fights back. 8 months later, he's racing again, though he's never quite regained that unstoppable form. He's admitted in interviews that the 2019 crash changed him physically, mentally, maybe even spiritually. He told Cycling News in 2020, "The prospect of a 5th Tour de France keeps me going, but the road back was brutal, marked by smaller crashes, like a broken collarbone at the UAE Tour in February 2025, and a fractured wrist at Torino Adriatico in 2024. Let's pause here to reflect on who Chris Froome is, because this crash isn't just about broken bones, it's about a man who's defined a generation of cycling. Born in Kenya, schooled in South Africa, and later racing under a British license, Froome's story is one of grit and transformation. He burst onto the scene with Team Sky in 2011, finishing second at the Vuelta a España when no one saw it coming. From there, he became a Grand Tour machine. Tour de France wins in 2013, 2015, 2016, and 2017, Vuelta titles in 2011 and 2017, and that epic Giro d'Italia victory in 2018, where he staged one of the most audacious solo breakaways in modern cycling. His climbing style, head down, legs churning like pistons, earned him nicknames like Froome Dog. But it wasn't just his power, it was his heart. Think back to the 2018 Giro stage 19, when he attacked 80 kilometers from the finish, defying all logic to win the pink jersey. That's the Froome fans fell in love with, the guy who'd risk it all for glory. Now, back to 2025, and this latest crash feels like a cruel echo of 2019. The injuries are eerily similar: ribs, lung, spine, and the timing couldn't be worse. Froome last raced at the Tour de Pologne in early August, finishing 68th, a far cry from his podium days. His contract with Israel Premier Tech is up at the end of the season, and he's hinted this might be his final year. An article on Cycling Up-to-Date from October 2024 called his decline a steep fall, noting he hasn't scored a UCI point in 2024 and hasn't won since the 2018 Giro. Critics, like Michael Rasmussen, have been harsh, calling his time at Israel Premier Tech the worst cycling signing in history. Ouch. Yet Froome's kept at it, driven by a love for the sport and maybe a stubborn hope for one last hurrah. He's even talked about starting a cycling academy in Africa. Post-retirement, a nod to his roots and a way to give back. But now, lying in that Toulon hospital, facing surgery and months of rehab, the question looms: can he come back again? The cycling community's response has been a mix of heartbreak and hope. X posts are flooded with prayers and well wishes, like one from @Peloton Pundit: Froome's been through hell before and climbed back. Don't count him out yet. Others are less optimistic, pointing to his age and the toll of repeated injuries. A Reddit thread on r/Peloton, with 101 votes and 41 comments, debates whether this crash marks the end, with one user writing, "That pneumothorax made me wince, those injuries are no joke at 40. Meanwhile, news outlets like The Guardian and Cycling News paint a grim picture, suggesting this could sideline him for the rest of the season, if not his career. The Athletic put it bluntly: at 40, the likely outcome is that this is the end of Froome's professional career. But if we know anything about Froome, it's that he's defied the odds before. Remember 2011, when Team Sky almost dropped him, only for him to stun everyone at the Vuelta? Or how he returned from that 2019 nightmare to race again? As we sit here, the future's uncertain. Froome's in surgery as I speak, and his team's promised updates. The physical toll is immense. Broken ribs and a collapsed lung are painful enough, but a lumbar vertebra fracture could mean months off the bike, if not longer. At 40, recovery's slower, and the mental battle is just as tough. Imagine the weight of it: a career filled with yellow jerseys, now facing the possibility of ending in a hospital bed. Yet, there's something inspiring about Froome's persistence. He's not just a cyclist, he's a symbol of resilience, someone who's faced doping controversies, crashes, and critics but kept pedaling. Maybe this crash is a chapter's end, or maybe it's another hurdle for the Froome Dog to conquer. Either way, his legacy, those 7 Grand Tour titles, the Olympic bronzes, the countless mountain battles, is untouchable. So, where do we go from here? For now, we wait for news on Froome's surgery and recovery. The cycling world's holding its breath, hoping for a miracle but bracing for the worst. If this is the end, Froome's story will still inspire proof that passion can carry you through the toughest climbs. If he comes back, even for one more race, it'll be a testament to his unbreakable spirit. What do you think? Can Froome defy the odds again, or is this the final turn in his incredible journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're rooting for him, and subscribe to stay updated on this story and more from the cycling world. Your support keeps us rolling. Thanks for joining me today. Let's send some positive vibes to Chris Froome and see you in the next one. Ride safe, everyone.